It started with a faint hum. Emily noticed it first as she sipped her tea on the creaky porch of the old farmhouse. The hum wasn't loud or intrusive, but it was persistent, like a distant engine idling endlessly. At first, she dismissed it as a tractor in a nearby field, but the sound grew stranger with each passing evening. It seemed to come from the woods just beyond the fence, a sound too rhythmic and melodic to belong to any machine she knew. One night, as the clock struck midnight, she heard something else, soft footsteps, almost inaudible but unmistakably present. She peered out the window, heart pounding, and saw the faintest shimmer of light by the edge of the forest. It wasn't moonlight or the glow of a flashlight. It was something else entirely, soft, pulsating, and alive. The next morning, Emily decided to investigate. She ventured into the woods, armed with nothing but her curiosity and a sturdy flashlight. The forest was quiet, too quiet, as though every bird, insect, and animal had abandoned the area. She found nothing unusual but felt an eerie sensation of being watched. The following night, the hum returned, louder this time. As Emily sat frozen in her living room, a knock echoed through the house. It wasn't a typical knock. It was slow, deliberate, and rhythmic, 3 knocks, a pause, and then 3 more. She approached the door with trembling hands, her old dog Max growling low by her side. When she opened the door, she saw them, 3 figures standing just beyond the porch steps. They were humanoid but unmistakably alien. Their elongated limbs and translucent, shimmering skin reflected the faint glow of the stars. Their eyes were large, black, and liquid-like, filled with an unsettling mix of intelligence and curiosity. For a moment, no one moved. Emily stood there, gripping the doorframe, her heart pounding like a drum. Then, one of the beings raised a long, slender hand and pointed to the ground. There, in the dirt, were strange symbols etched into the earth. They glowed faintly, shifting and changing as if alive. Emily didn't know what compelled her, but she nodded. The alien stepped back and gestured toward the symbols. They wanted her to follow. Against every instinct, she grabbed her coat and stepped into the night. The beings led her into the woods, past trees that seemed to shimmer in their presence. At the center of a small clearing was a ship, not the metallic saucer she expected, but an organic, living thing, pulsing with light and energy. The hum she'd been hearing for weeks was louder now, resonating in her chest. One of the beings extended its hand, and Emily hesitated before reaching out. When their fingers touched, her mind was flooded with images, vast cities suspended in glowing nebulas, stars collapsing into brilliant supernovas, and beings like them, traveling across galaxies in search of understanding. They weren't here to invade or harm, they were explorers, gathering knowledge about different life forms and their worlds. Somehow, they had chosen her farmhouse as a landing point, drawn by its isolation and the openness of the surrounding land. Over the following weeks, the visits became regular. Each night, the beings would come, and Emily would sit with them, learning through the images they shared. She began to understand their language, not in words, but in thoughts and feelings. They showed her the fragility of Earth, the interconnectedness of all life, and the importance of preserving balance in the universe. But as suddenly as they had appeared, the visit stopped. One evening, the hum didn't come, and the night was filled with the usual sounds of crickets and rustling leaves. Emily felt a strange mix of relief and longing. Months passed, and life returned to normal, or as normal as it could be after such an experience. But she wasn't the same. The images and lessons they had shared lingered, inspiring her to protect the land she once took for granted. One morning, as she tended to her garden, she noticed something in the soil, a small, glowing stone etched with the same symbols the beings had drawn that first night. It pulsed faintly, as though alive, and Emily smiled. They were gone, but they hadn't forgotten her. And she knew, deep down, that she hadn't seen the last of them.